This week on the Ring Report, we give you a behind-the-scenes look at Canelo versus Jacobs and exclusive post-fight interviews with Hall of Famers Bernard Hopkins and the Golden Boy himself, Oscar De La Hoya. All that and more coming up on the Ring Report.
The Ring Report, your inside look at all the latest news in boxing. The Ring Report.
Welcome to the Ring Report. I'm your host, Beto Duran, joined by the editor-in-chief of Ring Magazine, the smartest man in boxing. I said so. You have any problems, come at me. Duran Sports. Dougie Fisher is your Twitter. Now, how long has the magazine been around?
Almost 100 years. 97th birthday, February of this year.
And the Ring Magazine belt is the most beautiful belt in boxing.
No doubt about it.
Who owns it right now?
Well, at middleweight, Canelo Alvarez.
And we were in Las Vegas for Canelo, Daniel Jacobs. Now, when you're there, like us, you show up on a Tuesday. Come Thursday, let's go home. And then the buzz starts building up again. We saw a good fight. Not one of the best ones ever, but a good fight between Canelo and Jacobs.
Yeah, it was, listen, style-wise going into this matchup, you couldn't expect World War III. These are complete fighters. These are boxers by nature. But they can punch. So a lot of hardcore fans and certainly members of the media, we had our hopes. The fight didn't deliver on the power display. It delivered on the ring generalship, on the technique, and certainly in terms of defense. You got to applaud both men being, at their stature, two of the best middleweights fighting each other. We don't get that in the other glamour divisions in boxing. We don't get that with heavyweight. We're not getting that with welterweight. It's great that the middleweight champion, the lineal champ, Canelo Alvarez, is fighting the IBF middleweight champ in Daniel Jacobs.
That was the biggest fight of the month in May because anytime you have Cinco de Mayo weekend in Las Vegas, it's a big party. Canelo fans came out. They showed out as always. But first, we want to take you behind the scenes. We want to take you to Las Vegas. It's time for the Canelo Jacobs epilogue as we go behind the scenes at T-Mobile Arena in this episode's Ring Magazine cover story.
The Ring Magazine cover story.
We are about ready for Canelo Alvarez and Daniel Jacobs. This unification middleweight title fight. An outstanding battle between two champions.
One thing that Jacobs can't do is stand in front of Canelo Alvarez.
Canelo Alvarez has never been knocked down in his career. Remember, a lot on the line for both of these fighters tonight. Night has fallen on Las Vegas, Nevada. Everybody excited for this showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Daniel Jacobs. And round one is underway. Big right hand there from Alvarez. It stung Jacobs, and now a right hand to the body.
Both guys showing a very hard jab.
Barry, you're so right. Hard jabs from both these fighters. Nice combination stuck there by Jacobs. Big left hook from Alvarez. Jacobs caught him with a left hand up top. Close rounds thus far.
Absolutely.
Jacobs to the head of Canelo, who fights back right away. Alvarez unhappy with Jacobs there. Nice combination from Alvarez.
That rocked him.
And Jacobs a little bit stunned. Big left hand there from Jacobs. Jacobs now with a flurry.
That was a whistling right hand from Jacobs.
Really unloaded, just unable to connect. Jacobs trying to wail on the body against the rope. Alvarez countering with a left, then a right. Jacobs says, come on, bring it. Back and forth they go.
Both these guys have taken the other's best shot.
Another nice combination as that uppercut caught, and another uppercut from Canelo.
This is absolutely the fight that Canelo wants.
He's standing in the middle waiting for him. That's unnecessary.
Big left hand from Jacobs. Caught Alvarez up top. And little Nate liked the way it finished for Dan. Big blows between Jacobs and Alvarez.
Final round.
The 12th and final round is here. An outstanding battle between two champions. Both trying to unload, leave nothing in the tank.
Crowd
and
loving
that will do it here in this 12th round.
Heck of a fight.
All three scores go to the winner by unanimous decision. Now the unified middleweight champion of the world, Saul Canelo Alvarez.
It was a heck of a fight, and I think the crowd here at T-Mobile got its bang for its buck.
You now have 3 pieces of the middleweight title. What did you think about your performance?
Sabíamos que iba a ser un peleador difícil, pero gracias a Dios hicimos las cosas como las teníamos que hacer. Todo lo que represente un reto para mí, eso es lo que me gusta. No, un reto grande que sea para mí, esa es la siguiente pelea.
No es mío. No es mío.
Para eso estoy aquí, para pelear, para eso nací, para eso estoy aquí, para defender lo mío y aquí estamos para pelear con quien sea.
Felicidades, mi amor, ganamos.
¡Viva México!
Now, Doug, I wouldn't say there was a lot of hype for it, but there was some hype because you just knew that Daniel Jacobs, the way he fought against Gennady Golovkin and wanting to fight Canelo Alvarez, you thought that this would be a big matchup. Did it kind of live up to what the writers thought?
I expected more from Danny Jacobs. He was the underdog. He was the guy really talking the talk. I really needed him to do more than just walk the walk once he got into that ring.
You mentioned that talk the talk. Now, Danny Jacobs is a great story, come back from cancer. We know him very well. One of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Easy to root for him. They had their headbutt at the weigh-in.
Right.
Got a little fired up.
They teased us with that.
Yeah, and then the 4th round is like, okay. Like, come on, guys. And you and I were sitting next to each other, press row.
Exactly.
And you're writing the actual story for Ring Magazine. I'm like, come on, Doug. Like, is Daniel Jacobs ever going to get out of 3rd gear? And when you're the underdog, I think those are the guys that need to push it more. Like, Canelo's going to do what he's going to do.
That's what I'm saying, because one of the storylines going into this matchup was that you can't win a decision against Canelo Alvarez. The Vegas judges are going to bend over backwards for them. I got to be honest with you. After 12 rounds of boxing, I thought the official judges bent over backwards for Jacobs. I didn't see a very close fight. I thought legitimately.
How'd you score? Ringside, how'd you score it?
9 rounds to 3 for Canelo Alvarez.
And then I know
That's 117, 111.
And you always go home and you rewatch
Which
it.
I did, and I gave 1 extra round to Danny Jacobs.
Only 1 extra round.
8 rounds to 4, 116, 112. One of the official judges had it that way. The other 2 had it much closer, 115, 113. Honestly, I think those are Danny Jacobs fans. I think those are folks who maybe felt the string of criticism. They're worried, like, oh, man, everyone's looking at us. Everyone thinks that we're going to give every close round to Canelo. So let's give some close rounds that Danny Jacobs didn't win. Let's go ahead and give it to the New Yorker. I don't really like that. And again, I'm not trying to put down Danny Jacobs. No. I'm certainly not trying to put down Canelo Alvarez. Honestly, both guys could have done more. I just think that the onus on making it a fight was on Danny Jacobs.
Yeah, he left us wanting more, Doug.
He weighed in heavier than he was supposed to. Contractually speaking, he was supposed to limit his weight gain to 10 pounds after the official weigh-in on Friday. He came in 3.5 pounds over that limit.
He had to pay a big fine for that.
He did. So I figure if you're going to pay close to $1 million to weigh almost 4 pounds more and you want to rehydrate as much as you want to rehydrate, use that size. Yeah. Impose your will and impose your physical prowess on the naturally smaller man. I think he tried, and to Canelo's credit, Jacobs couldn't do it because of that head and upper body movement. Canelo's defense is now pound-for-pound level stuff. He's an elite defensive fighter. And I thought Canelo, there were certain times where he made Danny Jacobs miss 10 to 12 punches. You make a guy miss a dozen punches, hit him.
Canelo Alvarez maintains his middleweight belts. There's still one out there. Ubo Andrade has that. Will he fight with him? Who will he fight next? We'll get answers to that and more coming up. Stick around for more Ring Report after this.
Golden Boy presents Boxing Bites. Brought to you by DAZN. September 14th, 2002, Oscar De La Hoya versus Fernando Vargas. In what began as an even display of skill, De La Hoya took over in the later rounds, delivering a big left hook in the 10th that rattled Vargas before he was saved by the bell. Seizing his moment in the 11th, De La Hoya knocked Vargas down with another hard left, before overwhelming his longtime rival with a devastating barrage of two-fisted power, in what is widely considered the biggest victory of De La Hoya's legendary career. Boxing Bites, brought to you by DAZN. 100+ fights a year for less than $100. Sign up at DAZN.com. The Ring Report.
And welcome back to The Ring Report. I'm Bethel Duran, always joined with Doug Fisher, the editor-in-chief of Ring Magazine. And now, sitting down in the fancy studio, our guest analyst, who was there all week long. If you've heard him on Spanish, you've heard him talk about canicas y no se puede jugar boxeo. Translated means you can't play boxing. Bringing now Ernesto Amador. Ernesto, how did your week go in Las Vegas?
Beto, first of all, thank you for having me here. It was really exciting tired week, but you know, I don't want to be disrespectful with some people, but I believe this fight is for people with good taste in boxing, not for everybody, because they're criticizing and they don't understand. This is on me, okay? But this is for good taste of boxing. One of the greatest
I criticized that fight quickly, man. Doug was criticizing. I criticized. The crew was criticizing.
Yeah, no, the people that mention some stuff, and I believe it's like a great bottle of wine, you know, but very special.
I don't have your kind of payroll to afford that great bottle of wine. I'm still on the Boone's Farm. Now, the judges had it, two of them, 116, 112. One of them had 115, 113. What did you have?
116, 112. I mean, 8-4.
Okay, and then
that's my cards.
That's a good scorecard.
Yeah.
Doug, you had that same after you rewatched it, right?
Yeah, I think 9 rounds of 3, 8 rounds of 4 is fair.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. You work in Spanish a lot. You have a big following in Mexico and South America. What was the reaction from the Latino fans to Canelo?
Well, it's hard to mention because some people in Mexico, I mean, not everybody, but they don't recognize Canelo.
Well, they're haters.
Yeah, haters. And you needed to grow up, right?
I'm okay. I don't need that.
Canelo is good with this. But
I got one or two.
Let me tell you this. I believe we have here Canelo era, and we need to enjoy these fights because we're talking about number 1 and number 2 in the middleweight, 160-pounders. And I saw a great fight. To be honest, Canelo is really mature in the ring. It surprised me how can he handle the punches of Jacobs. I mean, everybody in 160 could go down to the
those are the big punches landed later on in the round.
Absolutely.
He receives a lot.
Absolutely. I don't think we saw a great fight though. I think we saw a class elite boxing exhibition.
Thank you.
A high-level chess match.
Yep.
And you're right, some people can appreciate that. And even though I came of age in the 80s when you had Marvin Hagler and Roberto Duran and Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns going at it, sometimes those matchups didn't produce the fight of the year. And I'll give you an example. In 1983, Marvelous Marvin Hagler was at the peak of his powers. He was undisputed middleweight champion, #1 fighter pound for pound in the world because Sugar Ray had retired the year before. And Roberto Duran was already a living legend. He was an all-time great lightweight. He did what he did against Ray at welterweight. He had made noise at junior middleweight, and he challenged Marvin Hagler. And you thought, man, given their mentalities, given their styles, I mean, Duran's a beast. He kills the body. He's a great counterpuncher, and he wants to knock you out. And Marvin Hagler, he's marching forward. He's breaking you down with technical precision. And you think we're going to get a war, and you got a chess match. It was 15 rounds of boxing. And I think it's because those two respected each other, and that's probably what we had with Canelo and Jacobs. These guys respect each other, maybe a little bit too much.
You had a lot of respect between those guys. Ernesto, you're running around with the cameras, and you were able to catch up with some Hall of Famers. Ernesto and our Ring Report cameras caught up with Bernard Hopkins, Oscar De La Hoya, and Gennady Golovkin for their reaction to the epic battle between Canelo and Jacobs.
The middleweight division, my home, my division. But, you know, Canelo represents this division, and what he proved tonight, he's the guy to beat in the division, but he's the face of boxing.
That's correct.
He's the face of boxing, and I am proud that he's representing the middleweight division and the special caviar on top of that, boxing itself. I'm excited. Fans are excited. mainstream fans are excited, and this is what we need in boxing. Fights like this that normally people look for a knockout. A fight don't have to end in a knockout to be a good fight. This was a good technical fight that both guys came to win. Jacob fell short, but he shouldn't be embarrassed because he's still in the picture for another title down the line.
That's correct.
But right now, Canelo is the king at middleweight. And that's a good place to be if I was Canelo.
Canelo mentioned, I want to be the king of 160, and I want all the belts in 160. Who's next?
He has all the belts, and I can't give mine because I don't have any, but I'll tell you, having all the belts is king.
Yeah, that's correct.
Whatever Canelo wants to do, I'm pretty sure it will be somebody that's going to be a threat. He want to fight the best. I don't see his mentality or his demeanor changing.
Yep.
He want the best, he asked for the best. I won't be surprised if Canelo go up to 68 or 75 and take on the champions there if he can't get nothing at 160. That's been done before.
Yeah, why not?
So right now, the world is Canelo's right now.
Jacobs, I've always said that he was a tough competitor. Anybody who fights against Jacobs is going to have a very, very difficult time. There's no doubt about it, including Triple G, including anybody who he fights. And especially tonight, Jacobs had the fight of his life. After the 7th, 8th round, when he started landing his jabs at will, see, the jab was the key for Jacobs. It really was. He had such smooth defense. He had great offense, Jacobs. He was moving side to side. But that jab, he just couldn't get rid of it. He couldn't stop the jab. So when he had Jacobs on the ropes and connecting those big bombs, I knew right there and then that Jacobs' will was being broken down just a bit. But he fought till the end, and that's who he is. I think that Canelo has many options. First thing is first. Let him rest. We'll assess everything in the next couple of weeks. I'll go fly to Guadalajara and get him rested and thinking clearly, and then we can make plans for the future. But sky's the limit.
I definitely was entertained by the fight. Two guys that have a great IQ, and you know, Danny Jacobs, I thought he did what he had to do to pull it off, but you know, I'm not the judge. Canelo definitely came to fight, and it was a great display of boxing for boxing itself.
Who do you think won?
Like earlier, I said, I thought Danny pulled it off, and
you thought so?
Yeah, I thought Danny pulled it off. I honestly thought Danny put it off. Canelo definitely landed some clean shots, but Danny did look busier for me to say that he pulled it off.
Я ждал, честно говоря, большего. Этот бой получился как хороший спарринг.
Frankly, I was expecting much more. It's just really like a sparring match.
Боксеры другого уровня, которые должны показывать, я думаю, больше дарить любителям бокса, больше экшена. И не было ни драмы, ничего в этом бою. То есть было очень довольно скучно.
Well, it was a little boring because they're both high-level boxers. So they should give more to the audiences, to the boxing.
Gennady Golovkin doing an interview with the DAZN crew, and Gennady just signed his deal with DAZN. You'll be seeing him sometime this summer. Now with Gennady Golovkin, though, he shows up to the T-Mobile Arena, has a smooth jacket, does interviews. They show him on the big screen, and he gets booed by some Mexican fans. Gennady also tweeted afterwards, nice sparring session. So throwing some shade at Canelo and Daniel Jacobs. Canelo responded, it's good that he comes to see me. It's good that he's my fan. I'm grateful to have won. There's more work to do, and we're going to get even stronger. Canelo Alvarez responded to Gennady, Ernesto.
I love the way they are fighting. They're looking for the third fight, is obviously. But let me tell you something. I don't like the way Triple G mentioned that this is another good sparring night, because he knows Jacobs, he knows Canelo, and he needs to respect boxing in order that the people respect boxing. I don't think Triple G, and this is Ernesto Amador, that was
he knows
sparring. I know, but you know, this is not a sparring night. I mean, you kidding me?
He became a heel, Doug.
Yes, basically. And I would definitely say probably the last 2 years in boxing, the business of the sport has soured him to the point where he's not going to sugarcoat anything going forward. This is just who he is now.
That's also, look, we can talk about Jacobs and Canelo a lot. I think fans have already had their fill of that fight. Looking forward, they need a dance partner, each of them. Canelo can fight Andrade. He can fight Fielding. He can move up. He can do whatever he wants. But the fans are going to say, look, what about that dude who we think you might have lost to the first time, maybe the second time? Because you have people, Gennady that still feels like he's never lost to Canelo. They need each other, right, Ernesto?
Actually, I was with Triple G in the morning, and he mentioned, hey, in my record, in my team, we believe that we never lose that fight. I mean, the second fight. He still believes that he won that fight. I mean, both of them. But, you know, like I told you, it's not the way to say. You can say, it was a great night, but I want you, Canelo. Not to mention, I mean, this is a sparring night. I mean, it's not the way that I mentioned this. It's not a sparring night. Come on,
it wasn't a sparring session.
No, but they have bad blood, and I'm okay with that because it's real blood. It's real bad blood, and they'll carry it into the ring.
But don't lie to the people. Because it's not a sparring night. Come on, you kidding me?
Well, maybe he was saying it was boxed at a sparring partner's pace. Well, maybe like a sparring pace.
But then again, Triple G is not going to give anybody any kind of credit. Canelo's not going to give him any credit.
But why not? You're talking about
because they don't like each other.
Okay,
it's like a novela right now. The tia's getting mad at the sister and everybody's getting mad.
I don't like. But you need to recognize that that night in the ring, there are number 1 and number 2. Okay?
The respect is out the window of those guys.
In Golovkin's eyes, number 2 and number 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's number 1.
Well, even. I buy that one. Okay, let's say number 2 and number 3 for Triple G. Still, you need to respect.
You guys keep respecting yourself. This is a good sparring session. We got more coming up from Las Vegas. After the break, we're going to take a look at some of the other good fights that we saw on Cinco de Mayo weekend on the Tecate Takedown. Don't go away.
Golden Boy presents Boxing Bites. Brought to you by DAZN. September 15th, 2018, Canelo Alvarez versus Gennady Golovkin II. After a controversial draw in their first action-packed bout, both fighters were eager to prove once and for all who reigned supreme. Keeping the fight in the center of the ring, each man displayed his awesome power and impressive resilience. In a thrilling 12-round rematch to remember, as Canelo ultimately handed Golovkin the first defeat of his professional career and secured his place as the best pound-for-pound boxer in the world. Boxing Bites, brought to you by DAZN. 100+ fights a year for less than $100. Sign up at DAZN.com. Tecate Takedown.
Welcome back to the Ring Report. It's now time for the Tecate Takedown, where we break down some of the other great fights we saw on Cinco de Mayo weekend. Now, in Las Vegas, the T-Mobile Arena, the action started at 3 o'clock. That's right, there were 8 fights total, but right now we're going to feature 2 of the up-and-comers that Golden Boy has. Joseph Diaz Jr. His only loss came to Gary Russell Jr. when he fought for the world title. He was back on the card, taking on Freddy Fonseca from Nicaragua. Now, it's not exactly the big-name opponent that Jojo wanted, but Doug, whenever the opponent is, you better show up and you better show out. And Jojo did that with the 7-round stoppage.
Yeah, well, he closed the show, and he needed to do that. We're used to seeing Jojo dominate over 10 or 12 rounds, and he's changed his persona a little bit. He wants more attention. He thinks that's the best way to get the title holders at 130 pounds to accept his challenge.
He's not that wholesome little kid anymore.
Well, he did. He looked like a Boy Scout. He had like that choir boy look and sound with the dimples and the grin and saying all the right things. And in his mind, he feels disrespected because he'll call these guys out and they're like, run away, little boy, you haven't earned your keep. And he looks at his record and he's like, no, I stopped Andrew Cancio. He's a world title holder now. I beat Rene Alvarado. He's a top contender. I've fought all these guys. I fought top 10 contenders 3 and 4 years ago. I've earned my keep. Even the loss to Russell, he was competitive. He closed strong in that fight, so he feels he's ready now. He got nasty on Freddy Fonseca. I mean, he put some, Fonseca's got a good chin because he took that punishment and finally the corner did the right thing by stopping it between rounds.
I agree.
But I like what I see from Jojo. I like the body attack. I like the combination punching. But really, it's the bad intentions behind those shots. That makes him more compelling to watch. I hate to say it. I'm bloodthirsty.
130 pounds, his new division. He can't make 126 anymore, but he also knows that at 130, there's names he can go after. And you saw it, Ernesto. Him and Tevin Farmer do not like each other. You were there at the press conference, right?
Yeah, I was there. But let me tell you something very quick. We have Berchel, right? We have Gervonta. We have Cancio. which that's the one that I want to see.
Loaded junior lightweight division.
But when 130 pounds, I agree with you. He needs to stay in 130. Jojo, don't go back 126, okay? But let me tell you something. Farmer is going to be, the easy guy. So if I were Jojo, you can go for Farmer. Because if you think about Berchel, now it's complicated for Jojo. With all my respect, Jojo. And if you talk about
Forget the respects. He's not respecting people on social media.
I'm saying.
It's an opinion show.
Because let me tell you something.
Go for it.
He was on green hair, right? Yeah. And he told me, if I win the fight, you need to be going orange. So maybe you're going to see me in orange. It's crazy, right?
You better win, Jojo, because we want some orange hair over here.
So the title. But let me tell you something.
It don't matter, whatever. Just orange.
But the point...
You want to come back orange hair?
Okay, that's why not? Let me tell you something. I agree with you. That's a new Jojo with hunger, with the eye of the tiger. He was really aggressive, and he's more mature. You know what I mean?
He's mature, but he's also professional. He still understands that he has to do the interviews. And afterwards, I grabbed him from the Golden Boy office, which is behind the scenes. I said, let's go to the top near the suites, and we're going to have the post-fight show. And he sat down at the desk, and we had this interview. What's up with the hair?
I wanted to do something different, man. I just wanted to, I always do something different with my hair, and I don't know, I just felt like it was going to be a good look. It was a good marketing scheme, and I did good, man. I actually like the way it looks, so I might do different colors now.
You were able to stop Freddy Fonseca. He was a tough fighter from Nicaragua. Now, I know that's not the guy you wanted to, because in your post-fight presser, well, not even presser, in the ring, you said, where are you at, Tevin?
I wanted to get Tevin Farmer. I'm glad that Freddy Fonseca, he was able to step up and he was able to give me a good performance and a good fight. But at the end of the day, I was too much for him, man. I wanted to showcase to everybody that I'm the real deal at 130 pounds. I feel a lot stronger. My defense, my elusiveness, my lateral movement, everything's there. And I will be champion at 130. I'm just waiting for the opportunity just to be given to me. And I'm hoping Tevin Farmer accepts that fight. He's talking all this and all that smack, but at the end of the day, once we fight, I'm going to beat him up.
Jojo Diaz really close to a world title shot. Virgil Ortiz, that's a bad kid. And I say that in respect because he's only 20 years old, 13-0, 13 KOs, had a devastating knockout of Mauricio Herrera, as Doug Fisher calls it, the one-hitter quitter. Hit him so hard that Mauricio stayed down. Referee jumped in immediately and stopped it. Virgil Ortiz, Doug, trained by Robert Garcia. We've seen him his entire career, which has only been 2 years. But we saw him when Canelo fought Smith at Cowboy Stadium.
Yeah.
Oscar De La Hoya brought him up to the stage and said, this kid's going to be a world title contender. And there's talks that maybe Virgil, at 140, could be fighting for a title at the end of the year, Doug.
Wow. You know what? His body looked so good. And he was sharp and on point at 147 pounds. I wouldn't have been shocked if they said at the post-fight press conference, guess what? We're going to stay at welterweight. He's going to throw his hat into that crowded arena, and let's see what happens. But if he can safely make 140 pounds with his size and his reach and that very underrated craft, that technique and that timing, and that's how he caught Mauricio, is that he kept changing up the punch combinations, and he's able to utilize feints in a way that people don't see and they don't give him credit for, and his opponents don't see it coming, and then he can lead with that right hand, and it's such a destructive thing of beauty. You have to pitch a perfect game against him. If you're not perfect, if you get clipped, he can get rid of you.
Or like Herrera, who had never been stopped. Yes, he's 38 years old, but he's a crafty veteran who knows aguantar. He knows how to stay in there, and he didn't do that.
Let me tell you something. For me, it's a big mistake if this guy thinks that he's going to make it in 147 now. I believe the best option for Virgil is 140. I'm not going to say that it's easier, but 147, come on, you're kidding me? You have Pacquiao, you have Thurman, you have Spence. I believe the best decision, and he mentioned, right, after the fight, I can make 140. That's the great idea. He needs to go 140. I mean, not tomorrow, but that's the division for me. 147, not now.
He's not a kid that hypes himself up a lot on social media. After he knocked out Herrera, Doug, you and I were looking at each other. He hit him, checked on him, and then went back to the corner and would just stand there like, what's next? Let's go.
Right.
Cold, what did you call him? An assassin, right?
Yeah, cold-blooded assassin.
Cold-blooded.
Right, because most kids his age, they're jumping on the ring apron.
Yeah, well,
they're
most
getting
kids.
that cloud.
How about everybody?
Yeah, you're right. You know
do
what?
That. You're doing that before you even have the referee counted them out. But Ryan Garcia has 3 million followers, right? He's doing all the hype. You bring up Virgil Ortiz, the hardcore fan knows him, the average fan doesn't. but you see some of his highlights, you're like, oh, let me follow this kid. Great personality. He's all about boxing. He taught himself the guitar, taught himself the piano. He's asleep by 9 o'clock. He doesn't worry about it.
Yeah.
His post-fight party, you know where it was at?
Where?
He went to get tacos.
Good.
That's it. He's
That's
like,
it.
I just want tacos at Tropo. That's all I
Let me tell you
want.
something. This is the biggest prospect for me. And again, with my respect, not Ryan, not Teofimo. This is the guy. He's not making noise a lot, you know what I mean? But this is the prospect.
Yeah, I won't argue with you, but I will say this. Maybe another 3 and 4 months, he won't be a prospect. He'll be a legitimate contender.
And before Virgil had his tacos, I grabbed him from the Golden Boy office. I like interviews first, tacos later. I can say that now because in a year or maybe a couple months, I'm not gonna be able to say that because he's gonna be doing big press conferences. Let's check out what Virgil Ortiz had to say after the fight. Now, Virgil Ortiz, how old are you?
I'm 21.
21, Grand Prairie, Texas. Oscar was also talking about you. You didn't have the headset on. They were trying to fix it for you. But he said this year, Virgil, we're going to set him up for a world title shot at the end of the year in your hometown of the Texas area from Grand Prairie, not too far from Dallas. He didn't say Cowboy Stadium, but the small one, Frisco.
Frisco, yeah. I fought there before, yeah.
Okay, but now for a shot from Oscar De La Hoya to say you and the world title, how's that sound?
Dude, that sounds amazing. Okay, a world title shot and fighting in Dallas, that's more than I could have asked for. I have the best promotions in the world.
Today, you knocked out Mauricio Herrera, who had never been stopped before. Viciously, you knocked him out. You get done, and you turn around like a cold-blooded assassin, as Doug Fisher called you. There was no cartwheels, there's no hype videos, there's no Fortnite dances. You were just going and right back to the corner like you're getting ready for another round.
I don't feel the need to do all that, you know. I just put on a impressive performance. Well, at least I thought so, and that's
Virgil,
that's all.
I'll say it was an impressive performance.
Okay. That's all I needed to show. I don't need to show all these Fortnite dances and all this other stuff to wow the crowd. What I did in the ring, that's enough.
I tell you, not a lot of hyperbole, not a lot of hype from Virgil Ortiz. He did manage to smile, I think, a little bit, but watch out for him. 13-0, 13 KOs. He'll be back in the ring real soon. And Ernesto Amador, you'll be back on the show real soon because you're out here sparring with Doug Fisher at the start, but you came in strong.
Yeah, I'm going to prepare better. Do me a favor.
What?
How do you translate this to Virgil Ortiz? Despacito que llevo prisa.
And we'll be back with more of the hottest topics in boxing on the Ring Report.
The Zone is blowing up the fight game. Stream over 100 fight nights a year without the pain of pay-per-view. It's the dawn of a new era. Bye-bye, pay-per-view.
The Ring Report.
Welcome back to the Ring Report. It's time to have some fun with the fan questions. In our next segment, the Ring Rundown.
The Ring Rundown.
Now, if you're a fight fan, if you have these questions and you have good, intelligent questions, you send them to Doug Fisher. Does a great mailbag Fridays and Mondays. I blind retweeted. It's so good. I already know.
Thank you for doing that, by the way.
You know, I'm here for you, Doug. We're a team, baby.
Yeah.
And I used to read it before I even met you, so it was even better. Now, people come up with good questions, and they're also topical. This one coming in from Tony23. I'm going to make the Tony joke. Just one more. Does Andy Ruiz, the heavyweight filling in for Big Baby Miller, have a shot at being Anthony Joshua at the Garden? Now, Joshua's a tough task. Andy Ruiz doesn't have the best-looking body. At one point was over 300 pounds. He's now got a nutritionist, got a new trainer, Emmanuel Robles, training at Legends Gym in Southern California. Seems like he has the right attitude and the right corner, the right mindset, but does he have a shot?
He's got a shot. Listen, I think he belongs in the ring with Anthony Joshua. His one loss was to Joseph Parker. That was a couple years ago. He fought Parker in Parker's native New Zealand. It was a very close decision loss, I think a majority decision loss. Had that fight not taken place in New Zealand, it had taken place in Los Angeles, maybe Andy Ruiz would have been the WBO heavyweight champion of the world. So I think he's going to go in there. If you look at his body, you think he's not very fast. You're wrong. He has deceptively fast hands. He's got killer combinations. He goes to the body well. He's got a good chin. We've seen that tested. He can take Joshua rounds. He can put hands on Joshua. Obviously, I favor the unified heavyweight champion from England. It's Anthony Joshua's U.S. debut, his Madison Square Garden debut, and I think for a late substitute, I think Andrew Ruiz is an excellent opponent.
And give them credit for stepping up. A lot of guys say they'll do it, and then the contract
Price
gets sent.
themselves out.
Oh, wait, you want to fight Win? Oh, I'm not.
What time, all that
I need an 18-week camp.
Right.
Yeah. This one coming in from Carlos Sanchez from San Antonio, who actually tweeted a picture of you and him at Canelo and Trout.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
2013, San Antonio.
And you look the same, Doug Fisher. I don't like your genes or whatever HGH you're taking. But what is a better fight for Errol Spence from Dallas, Texas? Crawford or the big money with Canelo?
Ooh, yeah. Now, who got that rumor started? Was that Oscar De La Hoya kind of got that thing going? Like, hey, step up to middleweight, fight Canelo, get $20 million guaranteed?
I mean, it's not that much. It's only 6 pounds.
If the fight was made, you could easily find $20 million to pay Errol Spence because it would be a huge event. I mean, listen, in terms of event, nothing's bigger than fighting Canelo Alvarez, even though Errol Spence would be leapfrogging the junior middleweight division to get to the middleweight division, but he's a huge welterweight.
Yeah?
We know he can crack. He was a U.S. Olympian, 2012 Olympic Games. He can box. He's a southpaw.
And he was at Canelo Jacobs.
He's been following Canelo around.
Oh.
I remember seeing him lurking about in Dallas when Canelo fought Liam Smith in 2016.
Was there.
Well,
at the weigh-ins.
Right? He's always around. He's definitely been scouting Canelo. I think that's a fight that can happen. I don't think it'll happen this year. Canelo's got plans. Honestly, it's a toss-up. There's a lot of status on the line if Spence were to fight Terrence Crawford. That would be for welterweight supremacy. The winner of that fight would likely be recognized as the best fighter pound for pound. And if you're going to play manager and do the whole risk versus reward thing, as dangerous as Crawford is, it's a winnable fight for Errol Spence because Spence is probably the bigger guy in there. That's an even fight. Against Canelo, you gotta favor Canelo. It's not just the size. It's kind of the same situation that Spence had against Mikey Garcia. We all know Mikey Garcia, complete fighter. He could box, great technician, but so is Spence, and he's bigger, and he's a terrific athlete. Same thing here. We know that Spence is a great boxer-puncher. So is Canelo Alvarez. Great boxer-puncher, but the naturally bigger man.
And just to clarify, Oscar didn't start the rumor. Oscar De La Hoya said he heard in an interview that Spence was interested in fighting Canelo.
Of course he is.
Quote, there's no reason why Spence can't move up to middleweight. If Mikey could go from lightweight to welter to fight Spence, and if Spence fights Canelo, it will be the most money Errol Spence will ever make. True. I would love to start the ball rolling. Let's do it. Now we're gonna pay homage to the greats who have come before in a segment we call Game Changers.
Game Changers.
For the month of May, the game changer, we're gonna go to the end of the month, May 25th, 1965, Doug Fisher. I'm gonna take you to Lewiston, Maine, not Vegas.
Yeah, not exactly the fight capital of the world, right?
Ali Liston 2.
Wow. Yeah, that's a controversial fight. It goes down as one of the most controversial heavyweight championship fights of all time. But at that time, the federal government was cracking down on organized crime and boxing. And Sonny Liston was basically like the last world-class fighter who was mafia mob controlled. And the promoter that they were using in Boston had mob ties. So the state of Massachusetts was like, no, you guys cannot host this heavyweight rematch. So nobody else wanted it. There was too much controversy around the fight as it was. Adding to the controversy, 3 months before that fight, Malcolm X is assassinated. Now, Malcolm X is the guy who brought Muhammad Ali into the Nation of Islam. Malcolm X had split with the Nation of Islam. Muhammad Ali stayed with the Nation of Islam. So the thought at the time was Malcolm X acolytes, his loyalists, were gonna go to that fight and kill Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali. And it's crazy talk, it's crazy thoughts for now, but at that time, you remember, this is the 60s, a volatile period in American history. There were people who gave credence to that thought. So there were a lot of cities that didn't want to host it. Like, no, we don't want any kind of riots. We don't want no heavyweight getting shot. This stuff bothered Liston tremendously. And that's part of the theories on why he didn't get up when he probably could have gone up. So the fight happens in Lewiston, Maine. It's nowhere town. They're fighting in what is basically like a high school auditorium. It could seat 2,000. They had less than 2,000. Yeah, for the heavyweight
Muhammad
champion.
Ali?
Right. And Sonny Liston was
a rematch.
He wasn't a popular guy, but he was a respected champion. He was like Mike Tyson at that time. The fight takes place, okay, so it's May 1965. Ali goes out there, drops what he calls the anchor punch, or they call it the phantom punch because a lot of the cameras missed it. A punch did land. Liston does go down. He could have got up. He stayed down. A, because Ali wasn't going to a neutral corner. The referee was former heavyweight champ Jersey Joe Walcott. Great fighter, not a great ring official. So he had trouble controlling Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali's yelling at him, get up. No one's gonna believe that I knocked you out with one punch. Let's fight. Liston staying on the ground. The timekeeper was saying the fight's over. The editor of Ring Magazine, Nat Fleischer, he was there. He made the throat slash gesture to Jersey Joe Walcott, said, dude, this fight's over. Liston was counted out, or he should have been counted out, and Walcott went ahead and into the fight. It was total chaos. It was craziness. People are yelling fix. No one knows what to think of it. But the beauty of boxing is that this is one of those fights that to this day people talk about and they debate about. And one of the producers brought up the Fan Man incident between, it was another heavyweight rematch between Evander Holyfield and Riddick Bowe. That was crazy. That wouldn't happen in any other sport but boxing. And as good as that rematch was, what everyone remembers is Fan Man, this guy coming in on this flying contraption and interrupting a heavyweight championship fight. And people talk about it to this day. In fact, you know, the assistant producer was like, hey, I was there. You know, I wasn't working yet,
you're right.
but I was there. It's like the craziness is part of what makes boxing the theater of the unexpected, as Larry Merchant likes to call it, and it's what makes it special. The ear bite fight between Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield, another heavyweight championship rematch.
The heavyweight's always crazy.
That was totally.
There's always something
that was a
heavyweight
disaster,
division.
right? When the moment he bit down on Holyfield's ear and you found out that he bit a chunk of the ear out, you're like, this is terrible. Boxing's dead. Mike Tyson's gonna go to jail. He's never gonna fight again. It endures.
You
Boxing
endure,
endures.
Doug Fisher. Your stories endure. They keep on going. The history lessons that we get with Doug Fisher. So I love doing this show with you. Coming up next, we're going to get in DAZN with Ak and Barack as they sit down with boxing's newest star, Ryan Garcia. It's the DAZN hit list after this.
Rematch, I'm gonna come in there a lot more confident. I know what to go after. I'm confident now.
At DAZN, we don't think you should have to illegally stream fights on your computer and get a virus. That's why I'm gonna blow up this computer. We also don't think you should have to pay a lot of money to pay-per-view to watch a fight at home. That's why I'm blowing up my house. DAZN is blowing up the fight game. Stream over 100 fight nights a year without the paying of pay-per-view. Bye-bye, pay-per-view.
The Ring Report.
We're back, and it's time to head to DAZN, where Ak and Barack, who do a great job hosting shows for DAZN, had a chance to sit down with Ryan Garcia. That's next on our DAZN hit list.
DAZN hit list.
At some point, we knew we was gonna get to this guy, man.
No, we didn't know because he's the fastest guy I know. Like, it was hard catching up to him.
We were gonna set a trap, something. At some point, he's on the zone. We caught him. King Ryan Garcia, or is it Ryan King Garcia?
This is Ryan Garcia.
Ryan
you
Garcia.
can call me King Ryan if you want, or Flash. It don't matter.
No doubt.
Or Flash.
The Road Runner.
Which
you know what I'm
is,
saying? Dude, it's fast.
And it's safe to say, a young star right now. Like, I don't care how many fights, titles, the boy is popping right now. Thanks for sitting down with us, man.
Absolutely.
No.
I want to know your experience of meeting Canelo for the first time, because I know our experience, he's a very down-to-earth guy.
Yeah, to me, I thought he was gonna be more serious.
Right.
So because like you see on the outside, like he looks like very like just all about his job.
Stern.
Yeah, but he was cool. Like everything was funny. Like we were laughing right away. So
Whose idea was it for you to, you know, pursue training with Eddie?
my dad and I. So we both like thought about, you know, what trainer would fit us best. And then after the Triple G fight, the second one, I was like, yo, no doubt, I would want.
Absolutely.
Like he looked so good right there, and he was like improved so much from the first fight. Like,
People your age generally want to have this like loyal mentality and not want to add new pieces to the puzzle, which as you grow, man, it's okay to add new people to your team. So the fact that you saw that at your age is super impressive. Do you feel that you've gotten better in the ring?
yeah, I mean, I feel like, you know, overall, you can't buy experience, and Eddie and Canelo have the most experience. They're at the pinnacle of the sport. You know, I'm just trying to go on that same path. And, you know, I'm not naive. I always want to keep improving every day. If it's my miles or it's anything, you know, tying my shoe faster. I just want to keep improving, so and Eddie's the best fit for me.
You toned it down a little bit because, you know, a few fights ago, you was popping smacks.
If it's anybody who calls me out, like everybody talks about me. Now I've seen on the internet, like I think every fighter has said something. Like,
Is it because they can't swallow the fact that this young kid has almost 3 million followers, the ladies love him on Instagram? Because, I mean, you topping all of those dudes. Is it hate, a little bit of hate?
It definitely has to have a little bit of jealousy and envy, but, you know, it's a sport at the end of the day, and it's boxing. You know, people get aggressive. And when the time comes, when I win, I'll have the last laugh. But as of right now, I do have sometimes, like, I'll be for Gervonta, nobody else, because Gervonta, he's up there.
I haven't heard you respond to Floyd's offer for the $200,000 a fight.
I did respond, though. I did.
So what's your response? Tell our audience.
All right, DAZN, I'm telling Floyd on DAZN that, you know, if we do fight, if I do knock him out, I need $1 million.
Oh, okay.
I need $1 million.
Absolutely.
I don't care. Like, everybody said I needed $1 million to fight him, but I didn't say that.
If you knock him out.
Give me the $200K, cool. But if I knock him out, give me $1 million. Then I get $1 million plus 2.
Right. So Floyd hasn't responded to that. So Floyd,
you got money, man.
Right?
Don't play
you got
me.
enough. The kid is coming. So you would take that fight if he offered that.
Yeah, if he offered that, because I know I would get him out of there.
You're a father now. How much has that changed your life?
But I'm definitely like a more motivated person, and my mindset is even amplified 10 times more because now I have the most precious person right there in front of me, and I have a responsibility now.
Does it hit you every once in a while, like, wow, I have a human being that's gonna call me dad?
No, that's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying. That is exactly what I'm saying. I'm like, oh my God, she's really gonna call me dad, and she's gonna really like get me some ice cream. I'm like, what? I gotta go get her ice cream.
This is my ice cream.
I really I want ice cream. Give me my ice cream.
We gotta walk 8 rapid fire questions.
Ready for anything, huh?
8 rapid fire questions. We just give you 2 choices. You gotta pick one. LeBron James, Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
Mexico or LA?
Mexico.
Yeezys, Jordans.
Jordans. I don't know. I like Yeezys too, though.
This was gonna be hard. Selena Gomez, Ariana Grande.
Selena Gomez, no question.
Wasn't that hard?
It wasn't hard at all for me.
Right, Lakers, Clippers.
Lakers, of course.
You can only have one. Speed or power?
Speed.
Okay. Oscar De La Hoya, Canelo Alvarez.
Canelo Alvarez. Oh, my God.
Oh, snap. You just lost your promoter. No. All right, listen, you can only have one.
Yeah.
Your 2.6 million followers on Instagram or $2.6 million in the bank?
I think I'm going to keep my followers. Because
Damn.
I can make that money easy.
He's following about 260-something people.
Yeah.
The 2 DAZN hosts could fit in there, man. You could get 200,
I could get
a couple more.
I don't know, I blocked you. You wasn't following me, so I blocked you.
Oh, damn, you got that salty? Damn.
This is a little something.
I mean, it's okay.
We need to follow the post, man. We want some of them young.
If you beat me in the punching bag thing.
Deal?
That's a deal.
So you go first because you can't have all the advantage. So let's go. And
what else always happens? I always loses. Too.
Anyway, so it doesn't matter. But he's gonna do it with his left hook because he's a professional young superstar. I'm just a journalist, and I'm gonna do it in my fedora. So let's go.
Let's go, champ.
All right. Let me just get a timer on it. All right.
Oh, scared.
He didn't even see it. If it was a speed test.
Wait a minute, we didn't see him punch. He punched.
If it was a speed test, you know what would have happened. All right. Hey, position it.
I'm nervous.
All right.
Okay. 89.25.
Better than yesterday, at least.
Follow. I know you can do it.
Tag.
No moving your feet. Just
punch. Move this feet a little bit.
No, he pivoted. He didn't move his feet. He pivoted. That's your punch?
That's the hammer.
It's a right hook.
With the right hook. He missed it.
Oh, man.
No,
Hold up.
No follow.
Hold on. Wait. Can you admitted that I missed the bag. Can you give me one more shot, a second shot to beat you?
I can give you a second shot.
All right, let's go.
All that.
88, 98 is what I have to beat. Why are you stepping from back here?
No, actually, I'll let you do whatever you want. Go ahead. Run up and bang. Let's go.
That might be 700. That was the worst of all time. This is rigged. This is rigged for Ryan.
You know, it's hard to beat the Flash. I mean, not a lot of people could do it. I'm sad that they couldn't do it, but, you know, maybe one day, but not today. Let's go.
Hearing from my very unreliable sources that Ryan Garcia could be fighting in July in Carson, the War Grounds, the Dignity Health, formerly StubHub, formerly Home Depot Center. You know, Ray Vargas is going to be on that card. That's in July. Go to the Golden Boy social media pages to check everything out. The Zone, though, Doug, June 1st, Anthony Joshua makes his U.S. debut against Andy Ruiz. Huge underdog. Quickly, your thoughts.
Yeah, Madison Square Garden. I'm going to be there.
Oh,
I'm expecting a fight.
That's
I'm
cool.
expecting
So
a
you're
real
going.
main event.
We ain't going,
I'm going to
just
be
you.
there. Yeah, Boxing Writers Association
wanna
dinner
go.
the night before. Jimmy's Corner. Come on, man.
Okay, now.
But no, the attraction is the debut, U.S. debut of Anthony Joshua, and I think he's going to have to fight hard at the mecca of boxing. I favor the Englishman by decision or late stoppage, but I think Ruiz makes it a really entertaining fight.
As much as I've been raving about a Vegas fight night, nothing cooler than Madison Square Garden, the Mecca, Jimmy's Corner right around the corner. Just Google it. Go on Instagram. You'll figure it all out. Next time you'll see Doug and I will be June 13th. Golden Boy on DAZN Thursday night in Hollywood. Go to the Golden Boy social media pages to find everything you need regarding who's going to fight, who's going to be there, what celebrities are showing up, because Doug Fisher will be there afterwards talking boxing history. I love doing the show with you because you take us way back, you break it down for us. That's why he's the editor-in-chief of Ring Magazine. That's Doug Fisher. I'm Beth Duran. Thank you for watching Ring Report.